Hello and welcome to today's conference entitled The Law of the Pendulum. Today we will be studying what is this law about and how we can transcend it to reach the truth. What we see here is a pendulum. It is interesting to have a wall clock at home, not only to know the hours but also to reflect a little. Without the pendulum, this we see right here moving from side to side, the clock does not work. The movement of the pendulum is profoundly significant. In ancient times, the dogma of evolution did not exist. So the sages understood that historical processes always unfold in accordance with the law of the pendulum. However, today, due to ignorance of these laws, we have the false belief that everything is and will continue to constantly evolve until it reaches perfection. For example, today there is a belief that humans are about to evolve and move to another dimension. Although it is only enough to observe humanity and realize that involutionary state in which we find ourselves. Everything ebbs and flows, rises and falls, waxes and wanes, comes and goes according to this wondrous law. There is nothing strange in the fact that everything oscillates, that everything is subject to the fluctuations of time, that everything evolves and involutes. We can see it in nature. A tree, for example, evolves up to a certain point. When it reaches its maximum point, its decline begins. We can see it in ourselves, how we are born, we grow, and then we get old. We can even see it in the realm of business, how large companies have risen, and when they reach the maximum point of growth, they begin to decline. We can see it in powerful empires such as in Egypt or Rome that rise and then fall, giving rise to another empire or world potency. We are even observing this happening today. The pendulum moves between the polarities of duality, and absolutely everything is dual. The white and the black, the ugly and the beautiful, the tall, and the short, etc. Joy is at one end of the pendulum, pain at the other. All our emotions, thoughts, longings, desires oscillate according to the law of the pendulum. Hope and despair, pessimism and optimism, passion and pain, triumph and failure, gain and loss, certainly correspond to the two extremes of the pendulum movement. We can see it even in a relationship. We see how at first it is all love and happiness, but when the pendulum moves, we reach heartbreak and sadness and even the breakup of the couple. In the same relationship, for a while, there is a swing in which one day we are fine with the couple and the next day we are fighting. We can place at the extreme right of the pendulum the various pseudo-esoteric and pseudo-occultist schools, religions, and sects. We can place at the extreme left of the pendulum movement all the schools of the materialistic, Marxist, atheist, skeptical type, etc., both defending their beliefs and clinging to them. However, both currents are parts of the same thing. Both parties are based on belief and develop the fanatical defect. Some for religion and others for atheism. They are believers, and believing or not believing has nothing to do with knowing the truth. The religious fanatic, due to any unusual event or disappointment, can go to the other end of the pendulum, becoming an atheist, a materialistic, a skeptic. For example, in a situation in which he asks his God to help a sick relative, but the relative ends up dying, he enters into anger processes that leads him to stop believing in God. The materialistic atheistic fanatic, due to some unusual fact, perhaps a transcendental metaphysical event, a moment of unspeakable terror, can go to the opposite end of the pendulum movement and become an insufferable religious fanatic. Materialism and spiritualism, with all its sequel of theories, prejudices, and preconceptions of all kinds, are processed in the mind according to the law of the pendulum and change fashion according to the times and customs. Spirit and matter are two highly debatable and thorny concepts that nobody understands. The mind knows nothing about the spirit, it knows nothing about matter. A concept is just that, a concept. Reality is not a concept, although many concepts can be forged about reality. The spirit is the spirit, the being, and only only the spirit can know it itself, okay? It is written, the being is the being, and the reason for being is the being itself. A concept is a mental representation of an object, fact, quality, situation, etc. It is also an opinion or judgment that we have about something or someone. Pendulum concepts, but in reality, the concepts are not reality. The mind only knows illusory forms of nature, but knows nothing about the truth contained in such forms. Theories go out of fashion over time, over the years, and what we learned in school turns out to be no longer useful. So the conclusion is that nobody knows anything. Who can guarantee that the concept and reality are absolutely the same? The concept is one thing and reality is another, and there is a tendency to overestimate our own concepts. Reality equal to concept is almost impossible. However, the mind, hypnotized by its own concept, always assumes that the concepts and reality are equal. The concepts of extreme right or extreme left of the pendulum pass like the fashions of women. All these are processes of the mind, things that happen on the surface of the understanding, nonsense, vanities of the intellect. Any psychological discipline is opposed by another discipline. Any psychologically structured process is opposed by another similar one. And after all, what? The truth is what interests us. But this is not a question of the pendulum. It is not found between the common goal of theories and beliefs. Two severely disciplined minds within iron intellectual structures arguing with each other, arguing about this or that reality, each one believes in the accuracy of his own concept and in the falsity of the concept of the others, but which of them has the reason? Who could give warrantors in both cases? In which of them concept and reality are equal? Unquestionably, each head is a world, and in each and every one of us there is a kind of pontifical and dictatorial dogmatism that wants to make us believe in the absolute equality of concept and reality. Truth is the unknown from moment to moment, from instant to instant. Truth is the center of the pendulum, not on the extreme right and not on the extreme left. When Jesus was asked, "What is the truth?" he kept a deep silence. And when Buddha was asked the same question, he turned his back and left. The truth is not a matter of opinions, nor of theories, nor of extreme right or extreme left prejudices. The concept that the mind can form about the truth is never the truth. The idea that the understanding of our of our mind has about the truth is never the truth. The opinion we have about the truth, no matter how respectable it may be, is by no means the truth. Neither the spirituality's currents nor their materialistic opponents can ever lead us to the truth. Truth is something that must be experienced directly, as when one sticks his finger in fire and gets burned, or as when one swallows water and drowns. The center of the pendulum is within ourselves, and it is there where we must discover and directly experience the real, the truth. We need to self-explore ourselves directly, to self-discover ourselves and get deeply to know ourselves. The experience of the truth only comes when we have eliminated the undesirable elements that together constitute the myself, the ego. Only by eliminating the error comes the truth. Only by disintegrating the I myself, my errors, my prejudices and fears, my passions and desires, beliefs and fornications, intellectual lockdowns and self-sufficiencies of all kinds, does the experience of the real come to us. The truth has nothing to do with what has been said or not said. With what has been written or not written. It only comes to us when the myself, the I myself, the ego has died. The mind cannot search for the truth because it does not know it. The mind cannot recognize the truth because it has never known it. The truth comes to us spontaneously when we have eliminated all the undesirable elements that constitute the myself, the I myself. I repeat it again. As long as the consciousness continues bottled up within the ego, it will not be able to experience that which is the real, that which is beyond the body, the affections and the mind, that which is the real truth. When the myself is reduced to cosmic dust, the consciousness is freed to awaken definitively and directly experience the truth. With just reason, the great Kabir, Jesus said, "Know the truth and it will set you free." What good is it to a man to know 50,000 theories if he has never experienced the truth? The intellectual system of any man is very respectable, but any system is opposed to another, and neither one nor the other is the truth. It is better to self-explore ourselves in order to know ourselves and one day come to experience directly what is real, what is the truth. As soon as the mind, through the senses, observes this or that phenomenon, it rushes to label it with this or that scientific term, which unquestionably only serves as a patch to cover its own ignorance. The mind does not really know how to be receptive to the new, but it knows how to invent very complicated terms with which it tries to qualify in a self-deceptive way what it certainly does not know. The mind not only ignores, but also ignores that it ignores. The modern mind is terribly superficial. It has specialized in inventing extremely difficult terms to cover up its ignorance. There are two kinds of science. The first is nothing more than the rotten place of subjective theories that abound out there. The second is the pure science of the great enlightenment, which is the objective science of the being. Undoubtedly, it would not be possible to enter the amphitheater of cosmic science if we had not first died in ourselves. We need to disintegrate all those undesirable elements that we carry within us and that as a whole constitute in themselves the I of psychology, okay? The ego, better to say. As long as the superlative consciousness of the being continues to be bottled up within myself, within the ego, between my own concepts and subjective theories, it is absolutely impossible to directly know the crude reality of natural phenomena in themselves. Consciousness knows what it directly experiences for itself, the crude realism of life beyond the body, the affections, and the mind. We must know what the critical point is and how we can position ourselves at that critical point. Each rise is followed by a drop of equal magnitude, as we can see in the image. The critical point would be that line in the middle. And being in that middle line, we can contemplate and comprehend the two extremes so that we can transcend them. Being at that critical point is achieved through self-observation. It is being in the here and now, in the present moment, since only from there we will be able to perceive this pendular movement and we can extract the wisdom of each part to reach the balance that is the truth. A perfect example would be that situation in which we have to make a decision and we don't know which one or what to choose. That's where the pendulum movement begins, in which we don't know what to do or what would be the correct way to act. One eye tells us yes, the other one tells us no. One defect is afraid, the other one is not. One eye shows us the benefits we will obtain and the other shows us the losses, and so on. If we observe ourselves, we will be able to see the come and go of those thoughts. We will be able to eliminate the egos behind, and from there the wisdom will emerge to make the correct decision. It is a very interesting exercise to do when we are presented with those situations of doubt and indecision. But it is what we should do with everything, since everything in this manifestation is dual. To reach the truth, we must withdraw the wisdom of both poles of that duality. It is not enough to say, for example, that I will no longer be sad and that now I will be happy, because we would simply be going to the other pole, and later on the pendulum will move again by law and we will end up in sadness again. We have to get the wisdom of the polarity, from the polarity of sadness and from the polarity that is that supposed happiness. Eliminate the defects that move in each pole, and there we will reach that balanced and true state of happiness, something that comes from the consciousness. All our defects are dual, so they keep us in one extreme or the other in the pendulum. They cannot be in the center, because in the center is the consciousness. On the other hand, we have to realize that we have an internal pendulum whose center is our heart. At one extreme we find the mind, and at the other we find the sex, the instinct, or the desire. To reach true understanding, that which is given through intuition, we must avoid polarizing ourselves towards one extreme or the other, and keep us in the present moment, centered in the heart, which is, as I said before, our center, in inner silence. So, if any situation arises, we eliminate the desire and return to the heart. We eliminate the thoughts and justifications and return to the heart, to receive in the heart the wisdom of the Father that comes as intuition. This is how we keep our inner pendulum balanced, and thus we will reach the comprehension, the truth in any situation. Understanding is a faculty of the heart that allows us to reconcile opposites. So we finish with this sentence that we see here, on which we should reflect deeply. What good is it for us to have thousands of theories, hypotheses, and books bottled up in our minds if we have not experienced or corroborated any of them? That is why here in this knowledge it is so important that we become practical, because only practice leads us to direct experimentation and to the truth. And well, this has been today's conference, without a doubt, a very important conference for the advancement of our inner work. We leave you with the invitation to the next conference entitled Method to Awaken Consciousness, Two Kinds of Consciousness, Objective and Subjective, where we will learn to differentiate between these two types of consciousness and how we can release that subjective consciousness trapped by our defects and turn it into free and objective consciousness. Thank you very much and see you next time. Bye.